Hi there, I'm Sonal Mehrotra Kapoor and you're watching Money Control. Now, all of us are social beings, all of us are addicted to our phone. We carry our world on our phones. But how many apps do you have on your phone? Well, last time I checked, I had over 50 apps that I operate on very actively. But what if I were to tell you that there could be one app for all your apps? Wouldn't that really make our lives so convenient? Now, the answer to that is this great revolution that is coming in the world of e commerce and online shopping. It's called ONDC. Now, a couple of days ago, we did a video on that on our Money Control website. It's there on our YouTube page as well. And we've been flooded with comments coming in, people saying, when is it going live? How can we access it? It's just an idea whose time is truly here, and in a space where, in times that we live in, where everybody is looking to make life more simplified, is this going to be the next big revolution, is what everybody is talking about. So we've got some answers for you on what ONDC is in that video. But to take some of those questions further, joining us now, I'm very delighted to have him, Mr. T. Koshy. He is MD and CEO for ONDC. Hello and welcome to Money Control, sir. Great to have you here.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Yeah, so since the time we've put the video up, sir, and we've educated people on what exactly ONDC is, what it does, we've been flooded with questions. Like I said, young millennials saying, how soon is it available? Where is it available? So let me just first straight away ask you, how soon will an average Indian in, say, India's metros, at least to start with, have ONDC on their phones?
Okay. Quick answer is that we have started in a pilot. When you mean by pilot, what it just means that we are allowing it only by invitation. So there are sellers and there are buyers. So, and what we are doing now is to add more sellers, more seller platforms, more sellers in more cities. So if I just try to give you a quick answer to the question, you will see probably Delhi and Bangalore going to have maybe in a month's time available to at least major part of the town, able to buy using one of the buyer platform that's already available. You know, the way that we are working is that there could be different buyer platforms. As you see, as you proceed further from about September to October to November, you will see these things exponentially growing. Because today there's only one buyer platform. By August, September, we may have 3 to 4 to 5 buyer platforms. Today there are only 5 seller platforms. We expect by end of September there will be at least 20 seller platforms. And when they all start adding, today we started with only limited thing, grocery, just to see how it works. That's the most difficult part. So now you would see probably in a couple of months time, we'll start seeing garments, beauty products, variety of other domains coming in. So it is going to build up, but it is going to get exponentially built up by September, October, and then it will just get available. So one more point, sorry, I'm just taking a little extra there, is that we started with grocery. Grocery can be available only in the city where if there's a shop there. Once you have other products there, and when it can be delivered, even in the cities where there is no seller, you may still be able to buy it based on which product it is.
I see. So a couple of things you've said. One, in cities, Bangaloreans and Delhi walas should prepare in just about a month's time. In August to September is when we can start sort of picking up on ONDC here. And you're saying by September end, the target is to hit at least 100 cities with limited offerings, but at least start there. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct. 75 to 100 cities, I'm really hopeful that I'll be able to do. Some cities will have a lot more action because there are more sellers. Some cities would have started with 1 or 2 sellers because they are the leaders, and will follow. But once somebody is there, then you will see things getting built up.
Right. I'm going to come to sellers and buyers because that's a real meat of what exactly ONDC will become. That's exactly going to be the meat. But first up again on some basic questions here. It will be available across app stores. That means it will be on Android phones, on Apple phones, and on all sort of app stores.
See, there's one thing that I want to clarify. is not a single application. It's not that ONDC is giving you a buy app or a sell app. ONDC is enabling multiple entities to bring out with buyer app or seller app. So today our first buyer app that is there in the pilot has been given by Paytm. Okay. Tomorrow it might be, there could be other entities like probably some telco companies like Airtel, somebody like the banks like Kotak Bank, so on and so forth, may come out with their buying platform to meet the requirement of their kind of sell and their kind of buyers whom they are targeting. So they may, some of them, I'm sure that all of them will want to have it in multiple, whether it is an iPhone or Android and so on and so forth. So the beauty of ONDC is not that it is creating a new platform as against the platforms that we have. We are enabling very much of innovations and creativity coming from multiple companies to bring very, very specialized and cool applications for different sectors. For example, somebody may come out and say, I'm going to create a buyer application for youngsters and to help them buy what they want with a lot of advice for what they want. Somebody may come and say that I'm going to do it with housewives. Okay. So the beauty is today there are only one or two buyer options. There will be, and we expect a lot of startups, and we are already, many of them are integrating with us, to come out with really innovative one with machine learning and AI, etc., to address the interest and specialities of their kind of buyers. And that is the beauty of ONDC. It is not that one, like say, it's not that just one super app. There's no super app here.
So just expand on that a little. You mean this is a network that's really bringing in big players and small players and saying this is one big market space where everybody can speak to each other. Let me
explain that a little more. I mean, I'll make it a little more realistic. Today, there are some existing platforms. I mean, I'm not going to name any, X and Y, okay? And there, they have sellers, they have buyers, all of them are interconnected. So if you are a seller in one platform, you can only be a buyer in that platform. I mean, and you can only sell to that buyer. And if you're a buyer, you can only buy from that seller. Tomorrow, what is going to happen is the buyers will become like a pool. Let's think. So what does it mean? Anybody who has large number of digital consumers, let's say a telco like Airtel or Vodafone, or let's say a fintech company like PhonePe, say that, hey, I have millions of customers. Okay, I want to give them e-commerce. Today, if I have to give them e-commerce, I have to go and tie up with all the sellers. No. Now all the sellers are there anyway for me. The seller base is there for anybody in the network. So I'm going to give them that. So based on, there could be different specialized agencies say that, hey, I'm going to create cool application for sellers. Today, let's assume that somebody want to make an application for Lucknowi sarees or Kanchipuram silks or hip dresses or whatever it is. Today, what happens is if they create a portal for them, finally for them to go and attract to this buyer base, they need to go to some existing player because they have all their captive buyers. Tomorrow, they don't have to worry about. Even if you're a small operator developing some very cool product sitting in Bangalore, only for some very specialized customers, you don't have to worry about who will buy. So long as your platform or your application is ONDC protocol compliant, which is a very, very low cost intervention, you will be visible to 1 billion customers, which has been brought by the telcos and everybody. That is the beauty.
So basically you're saying if I'm a Lucknow person, so I can definitely say that from chicken curry in Lucknow to silks, borders and distance will not be an issue, and local players, and that's the key here, local players can actually get onto the platform and avail the network really here. That's how it's going to change. That is what you're saying.
For example, you might look at, there are two cool, interesting applications. One is you might be, let's say you're a local player where, let's say you're a local restaurant. I'm just making an example. Then the buyers can only be in the same place, correct? Now, but thing is, if you are today, if you're in any seller platform, the buyer platform, when they do a search, show me the restaurants in 6 kilometer radius. It doesn't matter which platform you are in. You will be visible. And the other way around, let's assume that you are developing some very specialized Lucknowi sari or whatever, I don't know. There, now today, you only know how to make it. You have made your catalog visible in the ONDC network. Okay. It is visible for the guy in Chennai, but you don't know how to manage the logistics and all of that. Okay, logistics is also available as a service. It is visible to the buyer in Chennai, okay, because it's in the same network. And when he's placing an order on you, because you have the Lucknowi site as well, you will look back and say, hey, this logistics firm, Dancho is able to take it, or let's say Shiprocket will take it from me and give it there, because that's also a service. So you are stitching
Yeah.
components.
Yeah, we've used a very similar example in our explainer as well. So I would really urge again for everybody who's getting slightly confused over here to go back and actually watch it. But I want to hold you on two things, very important things, sir, that you've mentioned. One is the cost, and the second is the services, right? Now, there is a reason why Amazon and Flipkarts of the world have really thrived in India. They just don't have a huge network. Their service quality is really par excellent, right? We've seen them, their exchange orders. So for anybody who's going into a government controlled network which comes with its own riders and baggage of sorts, how we see apps performing in India, how would you say is ONDC going to be different in matter of competing almost with Amazon?
Okay, let me tell you first, let me correct yourself. This, while government has sponsored ONDC, government consciously decided that it has to have the flexibility and agility of a private company. So ONDC as a company is set up as a private company. And government has not put the money, government has asked the financial institutions to put the money there.
You're raising capital, yeah.
Okay, so it's raising capital. So it has the same flexibility like a startup. Okay, now again, since what is happening is, let's say, since the 5-star service of the existing platform, they'll say, I want to make my buyer extremely happy. So I'm going to give him a condition that give him or her a condition that if you don't like it, you can give it back in 30 days time. So how does he manage to do that? Because one, the money is with him. Okay. And if the buyer says didn't like it, so he will just send the money back. And he will not give it to the seller. Or if he says that I want a replacement, he will tell the seller, please replace it. If you don't replace it, I'm not going to pay you. So the monetary and contractual control is there on the top of them. Now Koshy's buyer platform has no relationship with any seller. Okay. And seller is not paying me anything at all. So my loyalty is to the buyer. So if the buyer is not happy, I'll just give the money back. Because I have the control now. So it's a question of, in fact, this model is even better in service one more element. One, it has put enormous compulsion on the platforms to perform. Because for the seller platform, if they do not give a good product and if there's a bad reputation which is available all across the network, they will lose clients. Tomorrow nobody will buy from them. They have no captive buyers.
Can you equate then ONDC to UPI? What you're telling me is that ONDC in many ways is like UPI. It's going to ensure that there is a level playing field and everybody's connected through this one big network. Is that comparison fair?
Yeah. So let me just go to the fundamentals. I mean, okay. Today, in the buying, selling operation, there are many building blocks of the transaction. What is the one? One is the seller interface. There is something that platform has to interface with the seller. Then there is a logistics. Then there is warehousing. Then there is a buyer acquisition, buyer service, okay, and payment. These are all come as a bundled package using proprietary technology. What ONDC will do is to help it unbundle. That's what exactly UPI did. For example, let's say today you might be using Google Pay or Phone Pay or anything to make a payment. Irrespective, Koshy could be there with any bank and using any application. And Phone Pay and Google Pay is only letting you to put the instruction. Your bank account is still with your bank account. So it got unbundled. Customer interface got unbundled with the financial.
Yeah.
So in that way, it is very, very similar. We have unbundled and made it interoperable.
Right. But sir, UPI, and where I asked you for that because I understand the comparison there, but one thing that has cropped up is that UPI does not charge a fee. And from what I understand is there will be a minimum about 1 to 2% fee that will be charged by ONDC as a platform.
So it's like I said, different people will have different models. Today, let's say, for example, when a platform is offering, there is a significant amount of, probably you can go and check it out, what's the kind of total charge they, take for providing this transaction. Okay. So we will have compared to that, if you look, compared to that, we will see, ours is a Section 8 company, so there we don't have valuation issue. We don't have to pay anybody a dividend. Okay, so we only need to have very limited amount of operational cost. I don't even have to create any platform, because platform is made by Phone Pays and Google Pays and Airtels of the world, and seller platform is going to be made such one. I need only to enable them. So now the intermediary charge, today you should go and check out what's the intermediary charge that is available in the market. Okay. Compared to that, this is practically nothing.
Now help me understand this. If access and network is what is ONDC going to really be thriving on, what are the incentives that you're offering for big players who already are quite big in their respective industries, retail, it could be food, it could be groceries, it could be anything else, gadgets, etc., to ensure that they get on the platform so that your network actually increases?
Okay, so let me just give you one example. Today in the digital commerce, okay, the total market of retail exercise is only 5 to 7%. This all, we all belong to that category of Indians who can afford all these things. So we are exposed to all of them. That's not only India. The penetration is only 6 to 7% in the terms of the buyer side. In the seller side, it's about a 1%. So you don't even get enough choices because they are not there. So that way, when you have this 7% become 50% and 1% become 15%, the market is much, much larger. So it becomes inevitable for any player to become a part of this network. Otherwise, your consumers will not stay back with you.
I see. Another question, sir, that's popped up has been about the quality of service, like we spoke about earlier. How exactly will that work to ensure that if there is exchange, how that's happening, in case there is a query, who does one really call in a situation like that? If you could throw some light there.
Okay, so there is, to bring some orderly discipline to these people who are working, ONDC puts in certain mechanism. One is, anybody cannot just come and become a part of the network. First, we will do certain KYC, that you should establish who you are. Second thing is, you have to develop this application which is meet the ONDC protocol compliant. Third, you will have to sign an agreement which says that you will behave as per the rules of the protocol. And if you do not behave, that you may get kicked out. Okay. Then the next one is that a lot of behavioral policies will be digitally enabled. That means you will be able to track it. The next one is that if there is and there will be a network-wide reputation. That means you as a seller will have a reputation across the network. You as a seller platform will have a reputation across the network. You as a buyer platform will have a reputation of the network, which will be published. And there will be a mechanism by which we'll also track how many grievances come against each participant, which will all be published. Okay, so this will put certain amount of pressure on the players to behave. Then you as a buyer, simple question. Let's say you used a Paytm application to buy. Okay, I use PhonePe. I'm just giving. You went and bought a mobile phone. If you have a complaint, you go to the same application and say, I have a complaint. And the same application will forward that complaint to the seller application and say, please follow up. Now, Paytm needs to retain you. So he will keep on sending the reminder if they don't meet up. Okay. And if they don't, and like I said, that probably it may also hold the money.
A lot of coordination and lot of rights.
No, even see, this is what happens even in the existing platform. These are digitally moving. It is not that one person is doing everything. There is a vice president in charge of seller and there is a vice president of a buyer. Except that the background, here again, Paytm will digital, because they are all connected in the same network. For example, it's like how you and I are talking. Okay. The Paytm, when you go and put your complaint, it will just digitally go to you. You as a consumer won't even know. It will go to the guy who sold. Okay. And Paytm may have put a condition that if you don't send it back, I'm going to pay back Koshy. Or so on. So Hero doesn't even have to ask anybody. So exactly the same way it is being done, it will be done even in the future. Except that it will all happen multiple parties.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Coordination between multiple parties and then ultimately will play a huge role in the success of
See,
all of
coordination.
this.
See, even in the existing platform, there is a buyer application, there is a seller application, there is a seller. Please understand, the existing platforms are not the sellers. They are only representing the seller. It's only a marketplace. It's the seller on record who is liable for the product is the guy who actually sold. He is the
Right.
one who's selling it back.
I think a good analogy here to pick up from what you're saying, Mr. Koshy, is this that ONDC is like this massive mall. So when you
Yes.
enter a mall, you're able to, it's a mall which has lots of sellers and lots of buyers coming in, and that's the sort of environment and surrounding and network that you provide. But the culpability, perhaps, or the responsibility of making sure it happens still lies between the buyer and the seller and not really with the mall. I think that's what you're trying to say here. I want to move on to some of the comments that we've been reading from industry players and big players like Amazon, Misho, all these players at the moment who are still sort of sitting on the fence and wondering what exactly is ONDC going to do to their network, to their setup that they've really worked on for so many years. So, what is your message to all of them?
If you look at, I saw a newspaper article, Misho saying that I'm seriously looking at it. I saw a statement from Paytm saying that they are pivoting their business on this. And I saw comments. See, look at there are two things. Existing players, they understand it is inevitable. They will first see whether these guys will pull through, okay, because they can do it peacefully. And second, they can do it. There is no hurry for them. They need to come in only after some time when it reaches certain threshold. Second thing, the way I look at it is if I'm in their position, I don't know what they're thinking, is that I'm a large entity. There's a lot of organizational processes that I have to go through. Let's say if I'm a startup setting up something, it is very easy. I can do it in 1 month's time. Okay. Let's say it is a big bank like SBI want to become a buyer application. I'm just giving an example. There's a lot of organizational processes that has to go through. Same is applicable to existing players. So they will take their side, which is okay with me.
All right. And also, a couple of cities that we're looking at. I know the pilot is already on. Could you give us a status check on how exactly that's going? About 6 cities, if I'm not wrong, where the pilot is already on.
Yeah, we were on 5, we added 6, which is Lucknow. And as on, I just have to look at, as on end of this week, it will be 10 cities. As of today, I think I don't want to give the name, they were just looking at and getting it tested. Because what we do is when you add a new city, we just do some internal testing. But as of now, there are merchants available in 9 cities. And next week, it might become 25 cities. By 15th of July, we expect to have 25 cities merchants available.
I see. That's where the number for 100 at the end of September or so is coming. So that's the
Yeah,
date.
that's why it is expected to exponentially increase.
Right. So some headlines have been about how ONDC is India's answer to Amazon and Flipkart. Do you agree with that?
I don't know. That headlines are all your your area. What I'm saying is, ONDC is something that bringing democratization to digital commerce, which is giving equal opportunity to a small cake shop from Bandra to a large producer of goods like say Reliance on the other side. In front of the market, they all are equal. The consumer will make the choice what he wants. So it is giving the consumer the choice and the seller the power to reach across to the consumer.
All right. You didn't quite answer that question, but I'm going to take that as a reply as well. But thank you so much, Mr. Koshy, for speaking with Moneycontrol. It is delightful and good luck. We hope to get our hands on the pilots as well and actually get to experience the system firsthand.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you, sir. That's all on Moneycontrol today. Stay tuned. Lots more coming up.